Today's lesson is going to piggyback off of what we did Tuesday and Wednesday. So we are going to be solving proportions using cross multiplication. However, today we may encounter a few more quadratics. So some of it will be a little bit linear, but then it'll creep into the quadratic style, which we're going to have to use GCF for some factoring and the easy method. Today I'm just going to focus on questions 1 through 6. And then on Friday we will do the quadratics 7 through 12, which will be a little bit more quadratic factoring trinomial style. So for question number 1, I'm going to put parentheses around my binomial. So again, this is 9-3, solving rational equations. And we're still going to stick with the cross multiplication, but this is day number 2, which means that we're going to hit some quadratics. Okay, so first I'm going to put the parentheses around the numerator and the denominator. And that's because I have a binomial. And then the right side is just a whole number, but I'm going to put that as a fraction over 1 so that I can use my cross multiplication. So now I'm going to start with cross multiplication, and I'm going to multiply top left times the bottom right, and then I'm going to set it equal to bottom left times the top right. And when you use the cross multiplication method, there is no fraction left. It clears the fraction. So on the left side, I'm going to multiply by 1, which is going to give me back what I started with, and then on the right side, I'm going to use the distributive property. So on the right side now I have 2x plus 6. So this is not a quadratic because I have a single x on both sides. So I'm just going to continue on and solve for x like we did yesterday. This time I have a two-sided equation. So I have a single x on the left, 2x's on the right, so I'm going to subtract 1x from both sides. And again, this is just your algebra 1 type equation. So now I'm continuing to solve for x, subtracting 6 from both sides, and I get x equals -5. But these equations, unlike Tuesday and Wednesday, have a variable in the denominator. So when you have a variable in the denominator, you have to check your excluded values. And the excluded values only come from the denominator set equal to 0. This fraction does not have an x in it, so I don't have to worry about that one. So for the left fraction, I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides, and I get that my excluded value is x cannot be -3. I check that against my answer. It's not my answer, so all is well. Okay, the next question that I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to number 3. Question number 3, I have left fraction 7. I'm going to throw some parentheses around the bottom left fraction. And right fraction, I have monomial and monomial, so I don't have to worry about parentheses. Sticking with the same method, going to use cross multiplication, so I'm going to multiply 7 times 4. And then I'm going to multiply x times x plus 3. Left side, I'm just going to clean this up a little bit, so I get 28. And on the right side, I get x times x, which is x squared, and x times 3, which is 3x. Okay, so immediately I notice that it's not like the last question because the last question had single x's. This one I see an x squared. So this is a quadratic type equation. And when you have a quadratic, it has to be set equal to 0. So because I have the x squared already on the right side, I'm just going to subtract 28 from both sides. And I don't have another number to add or subtract 28 from, so I just arrange it in standard form. Oops. There we go. Okay, so now I have a quadratic that is a trinomial, so I'm going to factor. And this is the easy factoring. And the reason it's easy is because we have a single x squared. So now I'm looking for what multiplies to be negative 28 that adds to be 3. So negative 28 would be negative 2 and 14. 3 doesn't go in 28. 4 and 7. And negative 4 plus 7 is equal to our 3x. So I'm going to factor into x minus 4 and x plus 7. And I immediately notice that the 3 in the middle is positive, so I know that my bigger number has to be positive. So now that I've factored the right side, we're going to solve. So I'm just going to take each set of this binomial and set it equal to 0. So x minus 4 equals 0, x equals 4, x plus 7 equals 0, and x equals negative 7. Okay, so I have two values. Now I have to go back up and check my excluded values. And again, the excluded values come from the denominator set equal to 0. And I don't have to worry about my right denominator because my right denominator only has a number 4, which does not contain an x. Therefore, it will not be an excluded value. So solving for my excluded value, x cannot be negative 3. I check it against my answers, and looks like neither one of those are x equals negative 3, so both of those are okay for my answers. Okay, so you guys are going to finish questions 1 through 6. The one thing that I do want to kind of give you a hint to is when you do question number 4 and 6, you're going to have to factor using the GCF method. Okay, tomorrow I will post another video of questions 7 through 12, but for today I just want you guys to worry about questions 1 through 6 and solving that.